first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting my 16 female parents, 51 male and 43 female, to have shared custody of me? My parents are going through a divorce. It was a long time coming, and having to spend a lot more time together because they both had to work at home was the last straw. I know I probably sound a bit uncaring/icy about all of this, but at this point I think everyone is better off if they separate. The last 4 years have been marred with constant arguments, cheating and whatnot, and my mom in particular has been using me as an emotional support animal, and I am sick of it. By some miracle granted by the very gods, they have been amicable, at least when it comes to splitting their finances, stuff they own, all of that. My mom moved to her new boyfriend and my dad is keeping the house. Now that they got it all figured out, they only had one thing left to decide, and that is what to do with me. Unfortunately, they assumed I would want to spend 1 week at dad's place, the other at my mom's place, and it's just a no for me. When they said what they had decided to do, I said no, and explained I wanted to stay with dad. I gave the reason that I go to school here, my job is here, and I don't want it interrupted. In reality though, it has a lot more to do with me not liking my mom's boyfriend. One of the guys she cheated with, and before you ask, dad cheated plenty of times too. Who has 2 kids of his own, no interest in living with 2 random kids 50% of the time, who live with him full time. And I am just a lot closer to my dad in general. We are a lot more alike, and he isn't emotionally draining like mom is. When I said this, mom broke down and begged me to stay with her full time instead. I said no. She threatened to go to court over this, but my dad pointed out that was a waste of time because I am old enough to where my decision will pretty much be final. That was last week. My mom's side of the family has gotten involved since, telling me I need to keep my mom's feelings into account and support her, and my grandma's gone as far as to demand I go live with my mom instead. I am aware I am not the most empathetic person. Far from it. So I have a tendency to only look at things from my own side. But my mom is clearly broken up about this. She calls me several times a day crying. I want to know if I'm the a-hole here. Please be blunt. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. It's a sad state where you're the most adult in the whole situation. I think they're just emotional, mostly. That's true, but your mom says you need to take her feelings into consideration while she's disregarding your much more practical points, namely your school and job. She would have you uproot your own established life to accommodate her poor decisions. Emotional or not, that's inconsiderate. Well, it is not like she's moving that far away. We currently live in this town and she's moving to the center of the next town over. My issue is that it would add about an hour to my travel time and I pay for my own gas. Cycling is not an option with that distance, and I'll be damned if I take public transport, especially in the evening, which is usually when I get out of work. Not the a-hole. My mom's side of the family has gotten involved since, telling me I need to keep my mom's feelings into account and support her. And your feelings don't count? I wonder why. It turns out they do count, and there isn't much they can do about it apart from the emotional blackmail. Luckily, it doesn't sound like it's working. You do what's right for you. Like I said, I am not a very emotional person, so their pressure, I guess you could call it, isn't working very well. I just had the idea that maybe I am wrong here in being an a-hole, which wouldn't be the first time, so why not ask people here? Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to visit my bio father who is seriously ill after he and my bio mother refused to see me for years? My 24 female, bio mother, 39 female, got pregnant with me when she was 14 and bio father was 17. When I was born, they gave me up for adoption to my parents. After that, they never wanted to know anything about me. They continued with their lives pretending that I never existed. When I turned 10, I wanted to contact my bio parents because I wanted to know more about them. But when my parents tried to contact them, they said they didn't want to see me nor know anything about me. And yes, it hurt me. But I didn't contact them again until I was 16. At that time, they had already graduated from college. They got married and had another daughter. I knew that because I always checked their Facebook. This time, I sent a message to my bio father, 41 male, and he was really rude. He told me that he didn't want to know anything about me, and that it was best to forget that they are my bio parents, that they had only one daughter, and that was the girl they had at the time. I told him that all I wanted was to know more about my family history, and he gave me his sister's 46 female number so that she could give me that information, and then he blocked me. Since then, I have been in contact with my aunt, and she's the only person in my bio family with whom I have a good relationship, and she was the one who gave my new phone number to my bio mother. And yesterday, she sent me a message saying that my bio father is really sick, and that he wants to see me to apologize for the things he did and said in the past. I didn't reply, and last night he was the one who called me and asked me to please go to their house to see him, that he's sick, and that he wants his other children to know that they have a sister, and that his wish is to see all his children together in case something bad happened to him. So I told him that I wasn't going to go, that they are not my siblings, and that they are not my parents, that my parents are the people who raised me and gave me all the love that they denied me during all these years. When I told him that, he started crying, and he told me that he was really sorry, that he and my bio mother were very young when I was born, and that they didn't know all the damage they were doing to me. But I ignored him and hung up the phone. My aunt called me and told me that he was very sorry, and that I was being a resentful brat, that I should leave the past behind and forgive my bio father. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to go? Now for the top comments. Not an a-hole. They were young when they had you. They were not young when they rejected your attempts at contact and told you that you weren't their daughter. You don't owe him anything, least of all a way to solve his own conscience. Not an a-hole. This right here. They had plenty of time to build a relationship once they got their acts together. They didn't, and they should have no expectations of you. He was a grown man at 41 when he blocked you, and he needs to realize that and stop making excuses. I wonder what they have told your siblings. It sounds like they haven't told them anything, and even if you did go, are they expecting your siblings to take this news without any bumps? To find out that your parents had another child that they have never mentioned and have never tried to connect with? Bio dad may be in for more surprises and resentment. As for your aunt, still the a-hole but a gentler one. She's dealing with losing her brother, and I have a feeling that if your siblings don't know about you, she's probably under some stress about keeping her brother's secrets. But she has no right to point fingers at you when her brother and sister-in-law are the ones that are wrong. I hope you are taking care of yourself in all of this. Forgiveness and acceptance are hard, but I hope you found a measure of peace in your situation. It sucks, and they have done wrong by you, not for giving you up for adoption. They were young when that happened, but their adult choices have continued to hurt you. And for that, they have to realize that there are consequences, and that you owe them nothing. Oh look! Another adult who wants to leave this world with a clear conscience after shutting down every attempt to do so in the past. Not an a-hole. He's literally a stranger at this point. OP, this is wrong. They don't want to get to know you. This is for their sake alone, as harsh as it sounds. Not gonna lie, as someone with a bad childhood, I am low-key excited for this moment to come. I've been rehearsing the moments I refused to forgive my parents for the years of neglect and abuse since I escaped them. Not an a-hole. It's funny how narcissistic people can never admit they were in the wrong until they really want something. Then it's always the victim's fault for holding on to the past. They made it clear they wanted nothing to do with you. You owe them nothing you don't want to give. If you do decide to see them, make sure it is because it is what you want, not for them. The bright side is that, at least you only have to worry about dealing with the aunt, rather than the whole entitled family. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for calling my daughter petty for crying about not being mentioned in my award speech? In the area where I live, I have been a part of a professional association for 30 years ever since I was 26. Every year, there is an event where a number of awards are given out. This year, the event was held over Zoom, and I was told that I had been nominated for the Lifetime Achievement Award. My daughter, 27, decided to get tickets. My ex-wife, 56, also bought tickets because my son, 16, wanted to be there. I was happy they decided to be there. I am obviously on speaking terms with my ex-wife because of our minor son, and the more the merrier. My wife of a year, 30, and our son, 1, of course were always going to be my guests, so they listened in. I honestly didn't expect to win and didn't want to jinx things by preparing a speech, but when the time came, they announced my name. I was ecstatic because this was the highest honor to be given. My wife and my son were hugging me and she kissed me on the cheek. So I started off my speech with that I was sitting here tonight with my beautiful wife and my wonderful son. I said that I'd like to thank them for their support and owe everything I have and continue to do to them. After saying that, I didn't know how to add in anybody else, so I thanked the professional association and ended the speech. Yesterday, I was in therapy with my older kids, and ex-wife and my daughter was sullen the whole session, and finally started railing against me for ignoring the three of them during my speech, and said that my ex-wife could have been just as successful as me in my profession given how many ideas she's given me in helping me start my business, and that they were the ones dealing with my late nights and absences and being poor for many years. I explained to all three of them that I didn't know I would win, and that I was obviously going to acknowledge the people who were currently besides me, and was tongue-tied. My daughter didn't seem to accept that explanation and continued crying. I finally told her that at this point, she's just being petty because of old grudges, and my son stood up and said, "Excuse us for being with you at the starting line." My ex-wife also started crying, and the therapy session ended there. Am I the a-hole for thinking that 3 weeks is enough time to get over sour grapes over a simple speech? You're the a-hole. You said you owe everything to your current wife and small child. I'd say she's pretty justified, especially considering they paid to be there. If I wasn't related to you and heard that, I'd think you had no other children. You may have been tongue-tied, but what you said was thoughtless and insensitive. Yeah, his wife of 1 year somehow helped with his career for 30 years. Her and no one else. Exactly. And their 1-year-old son was a huge help. You're the a-hole. I'm not going to mention the fact that your new wife is 3 years older than your daughter. Oops. And like 26 younger than you? Oops again. But honestly, seems like someone, hint, you, just wanted to show off his much younger bride. So instead of thanking the people that had been by your side for almost the entire time you had been doing this job, the people that had stuck by you even when times were tough, and when you were not present, you chose to thank the person that, honestly, had done the least for you. You're the a-hole of the day. This right here, a deep and all-encompassing you're the a-hole. It truly floored me to read how incredibly dense Opie is being about this. No empathy or consideration for anyone but himself. I said that I'd like to thank them for their support and owe everything I have and continue to do to them. I owe them everything because throughout my life, it was my motivation to be rich and successful enough to get a trophy wife my daughter's age. That drove me to all my successes. You're the a-hole, massively. The last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not giving my sister, single mom, money for a car when I can't afford to do so? I, female 17, have an online shop that I've been running for about 2 years now. It sells mostly stickers with my custom art, as well as some other small items. I put a lot of work into it. Basically, if I'm not doing school stuff, I'm working on stuff for my shop. I love it. The pandemic has let me put even more time in, and over the past 10 months, it's done really well. I have a good chunk of money saved for university and other things. My sister, 25 female, is divorced with 2 kids, 1 male and 2 female. She has a job and child support. We've never gotten along. She always acted like she was embarrassed of me. She said I'm an anti-social nerd loser, which is fair, lol. One of the things she always made fun of me was my sticker hobby. She said stickers were juvenile and I'm just creating more garbage in the world. So, she totaled her car recently and can't afford a new one. My parents told her to ask me for a loan. They can't afford to help her. And she sort of scoffed and asked them how much a loser like me could have. I don't even work. They told her how much I have in my bank account. And she called me demanding I buy her a new car. Not asking, demanding. She said I didn't need the money, that I could get student loans like she did, and that I was a bad sister for not offering to help her out, / pay her when I knew how tough she had it. She eats out all the time, buys expensive clothes, / shoes, / bags, makeup palettes, trips to the spa and with her friends, pre-COVID. I had no idea she had it tough, but in fairness, even if I had, I probably wouldn't have given her money. At no point in this convo did she mention paying me back. She said that I've never contributed anything to the family, which is a joke coming from her, and that further to buying her a new car, I should give her what I make from my dumb hobby, since as a single mom she needs the money much more than I do. is I live rent-free at home and don't contribute to bills or groceries. The thing is, she's not wrong, but I don't want to give her a cent. She's my sister and I love her, but I don't like her very much. She's selfish and entitled, and it bugs me she just makes these demands like I'm the one being unreasonable. So I said hell no, and that she probably is too good for my baby sticker money anyway. I wouldn't want her to stoop to my level. Then I hung up and stopped responding to her texts, /calls, /DMs. My parents won't force me to do anything. They say it's up to me, but that I should reconsider. She's my sister and is having a hard time. And there are 2 babies involved. They need a car. I don't strictly need the money right away like she does, and I was pretty snarky with her. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. If she wanted money from you, then she should at least try to be nice to you. Keep your sticker money for college. You are only 17, a minor. You don't have to contribute to the family. It is the job of the family to support you. My sister is rarely nice to anybody. Lol. She sounded genuinely furious with me on the phone though, which threw me off. And I wondered if it was coming from a place of fear/desperation. My niece and nephew are sweet, and I hate to think of them hurting because of bad blood between me and their mom. Do not give her any money. She made her bed, let her lay in it. You are 17, learn from her mistakes, and save as much money as you possibly can. Also, to hell with your parents for telling their grown daughter to ask a 17-year-old for money. Shame on all of them. Buy yourself a nice car. I won't. She's just so mean that it just puts me off. And her baby daddy still has a car and is in their lives. Other posts mentioned she can get a bank loan or her insurance should give her money, which I didn't even think of, so she'll probably be fine on the car front. Not at a-hole, and protect that money however you can. I suspect parents will subvert you and take it when you stick to your guns. I don't think my parents would do that. I offered to help them out with some bills when my shop started to make some money and they shot that down hard. Said it was my money that I earned, and I will never pay them for that kind of thing. I was pretty upset they told her how much money I had though. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.